2021 Coinbase IPO is interesting, but far more breathtaking is the rate at which institutional investment is waking up to the necessity of holding Bitcoin as a primary treasury reserve asset, and how Michael Saylor so brilliantly describes the opportunity Bitcoin creates and how trillions of dollars will flow into the network. Galileo at Hyperchange facilitated an excellent interview. I'll link it in the description below.
Potentially filing for a public offering last night, marking an industry milestone. The company did not say how it will structure its offering in particular. Coinbase has more than 35 million verified users in more than 100 countries and more than $25 billion in assets on its cryptocurrency platform. It's raised more than $500 million from backers including Andreessen Horowitz, Tiger Global Management, Y Combinator, Greylock Partners, and others. Now, the Coinbase IPO comes amid a record-breaking run for Bitcoin prices, which broke through the 23,000 mark a day after hitting the 20,000 mark.
Time for the futures outlook. Bitcoin slightly higher today after its record rally. The crypto up 27% just since Monday, its best week since mid-2019. So we ask Scott Nations now of Nations Indexes, Jeff Kilberg of KKM Financial.
I remain constructive and optimistic on Bitcoin. And what was the game changer, Judge? We talked about it a while ago here on the halftime report. We talked about PayPal really adopting its 350 million users, allowing to use not only Bitcoin, but other cryptocurrencies as a fiat currency inside of PayPal. Well, there was just a survey that came out, 20% of those 350 million users, I'll do the math for Stephen White, 70 million of PayPal users are now using Bitcoin. So that's a big deal, and you're seeing this broader adoption. We work with a lot of family offices. They are broadening their exposure going into 2021 for cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin futures. But Bitcoin futures really provide a great opportunity for exposure and also how to mitigate risk.
Scott Nations, Bitcoin, where's it going?
Well, I understand why it's higher. I mean, if you look at the dollar index actually closed below 90 yesterday. And with concerns about real rates, inflation being higher, we got some surprisingly high inflation data recently. And people are looking for a dollar hedge. I get that. I understand that. And if you're over 50, you're probably thinking about gold. But there's so much friction when it comes to actually trading physical gold that everybody else in the world is thinking about Bitcoin. So I understand that. Has Bitcoin come too far too fast? Well, the dollar index is down just over 2% since the first of the month, and Bitcoin is through the roof. So I understand the use case, and this is the use case that makes sense to me, but boy, are we at lofty levels.
Lofty levels? Here's why that statement is not only short-sighted, but simply incorrect.
There's two ideas that are new ideas that most people, 99% of the world doesn't understand, that I'm going to share with you. First idea, Bitcoin is rotating this year from the old insight narrative, which is it's an uncorrelated speculative asset traded by retail traders on offshore exchanges with leverage that's kind of cool. It's rotating to a new insight, which is it's the world's best long duration investment grade safe haven treasury asset. It's something you're gonna use to give money to your grandchildren. If you want to have money 30 years from now, 60 years from now, and you want to put your money in property that the state can't seize, no government, the government can't get at, it's not going to be taxed away like real estate, it's going to be there for 30 years, 40 years, then this is the ultimate long duration safe haven asset. You see companies like my company, we have like nearly 800 million in it right now. And you'll see insurance companies like MassMutual putting 100 million in. That's 100 million out of a $230 billion general fund. What happens when they put 1% in or 2% in? So that rotation from speculative asset to safe haven asset is a big idea because you go from 1% of the people betting 1% of their money to 100% of the people betting 50% of their money. Okay, big idea. Like there's $300 trillion worth of monetary energy sitting between bond stocks and real estate. Half of it just wants a store of value. So there's no reason why $150 trillion wouldn't flow into the Bitcoin network. And so we're not talking about demonetizing gold. We're talking about the people that stampeded to gold or S&P indexes or stock indexes or bond indexes. If you don't love, if you own Tesla, you love it. But there's a lot of people that buy stocks they don't love. They just put it in there because they don't want to lose their money. And so they will use Bitcoin as a savings account. It's like the savings and loan at the end of the universe. Savings and loan in cyberspace that's available to 7.8 billion people where no politician can steal your money, right? That's a simple idea. Everybody on earth needs it. Simple. There's another idea though, which is this is the first truly engineered monetary network in the history of the world. And by that, I mean, it's a closed, thermodynamically sound monetary system. If you put $100 million in the system, it's like charging a battery. It has no power loss. You can store it for 100 years. It'll still be there. Every other monetary system has a power loss in it. It bleeds energy. Your money into electricity and store it in a battery, you lose 2% a month. You have 24% inflation rate a year. You can't move electricity around without losing 6% of it over the course of a few hundred miles. So what if I wanted to store all my monetary energy and I didn't want to lose it every month or every year or every decade? Well, I design a closed system, 21 million gold coins. None come in, none go out. All I can do is heat it up or cool it down. That's the definition of a thermodynamic closed system. Bitcoin is the first example of that system. What that means is that you can collect all of the monetary energy in the world, store it in this battery, hold it for 100 years, channel it through time and space with no energy loss. It's an engineering breakthrough. It's like an aqueduct. It's like an electrical power system or grid. So if I said to you, I thought I'd build a city, but I thought I'd plug it into an aqueduct, you wouldn't say I'm crazy. You would say that's a good idea so that all your people don't die due to lack of water and sanitation, right? It's like building a city on a river. Is that a crazy idea or a good idea to have a river flowing through the city? What if I decided I was going to have a city with roads in it? Good idea, bad idea. How about my house is going to be wired for electricity? Good idea, bad idea. Or I have a company, we're going to be on the internet. Okay, it's not risky to be on the internet with electricity and have running water. These are not risky things, but they were pretty crazy ideas before we had the internet, electricity, and running water. Okay, so Bitcoin is a monetary network. When Jack Dorsey plugged Square into it, he plugged Square into the monetary network. PayPal is plugged into the monetary network. MicroStrategy plugged itself into the monetary network. Why? Because all the other networks are, if you're in cash, you're losing 15% of your energy a year. If you're in gold, you're losing 3 or 4% of your energy a year. If you're using a stock portfolio, you got to guess Google versus Facebook versus Amazon versus Tesla and juggle the thing and worry about what happens every quarter. It's too complicated. What if I just wanted to plug into a monetary network that will store and protect my energy from depletion for the next decade? No one's ever figured it out. Bitcoin is Facebook for money. If Facebook's worth $1 trillion because it stores the social energy of 1 billion people or 2 billion, Bitcoin has got to be worth 100x that much because it's storing the money of 1 billion people. When Rupert Murdoch shows up to Facebook, he doesn't bring 1 billion friends. When Rupert Murdoch shows up to Bitcoin, he's going to drop $1 billion on the network like immediately, because what do you do with a monetary network other than put all your money on it? It's a pretty big idea. It's not a speculative, uncorrelated asset. It's the first monetary network in the history of the world that we figured out how to make work.
Remember, the internet in 1994 was not used nor understood by the mainstream. Yet today, we can't imagine life without it.
Allison, can you explain what internet is?
Blockchain technology and crypto assets will disrupt life as we know it in the years to come. Having an ownership stake in these assets will be life-changing. This is not financial advice, but I'll continue to provide you with key updates and news, so be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss a thing. There's power in numbers and even more power in knowledge, so share this content with those close to you so we don't leave anyone behind. This is Rex.